October 11, 2025, in the Gulf of Mexico. A cartel narco-sub with over 3 tons of meth and cocaine moves under the surface, guarded by 2 fast boats. As the Coast Guard closes in, the escorts fire first. Tracers streak across the water, and the chase becomes a gunfight. Do they stop the sub now, or does it make the handoff? The outcome will shock you. A narco-submarine packed with over 3 tons of meth and cocaine was moving silently through dark waters. On the black market, that amount of meth alone was worth nearly $400 million. Yes, enough to poison an entire U.S. state. The submarine belonged to the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, one of the most feared criminal groups in the world. 2 fast escort boats carrying 25 armed cartel gunmen surrounded it like bodyguards and were ready to kill anyone who came close. Their mission was to escort the sub to a secret meeting point with the Venezuelan cartel, where another network would take over and smuggle the drugs into the United States. The men on board believed the ocean would keep them safe. But what they didn't know was that the U.S. Navy was already watching them, tracking every sound and every movement under the sea. It was 2:12 a.m. on October 11, 2025. The Gulf of Mexico was still and silent, the surface shining like black glass. In the command center of the Coast Guard's monitoring base, a faint moving dot appeared on the radar screen. It was barely visible. Well, it was a slow, ghostly object traveling at just 6 knots. There was no radio signal, no identification, no contact of any kind. It looked like a shadow drifting through U.S. waters. Within minutes, a Navy P-8A Poseidon aircraft was dispatched to check it out. From the air, the Poseidon confirmed that this was no ordinary boat. The heat signature was too low, and the shape was all wrong. The metallic outline didn't match any fishing vessel or buoy. Something strange was moving in the dark, and it wasn't supposed to be there. By 2:25 a.m., the naval station at Pensacola was fully awake. Analysts checked satellite data and cross-referenced signals from the area, and what they found shocked everyone. The object was almost exactly the size of a narco-submarine. It was a 35-foot-long semi-submersible vessel used by the Jalisco New Generation Cartel to move huge amounts of drugs across oceans. It could carry nearly 3 tons of cargo and travel hundreds of miles without surfacing. That metal shell contained hundreds of millions of dollars in poison. The calm sea made it even harder to track, as the radar blip appeared and disappeared every few seconds. What we could say is someone down there was playing a dangerous game of hide-and-seek with one of the world's most powerful naval forces. At 2:40 a.m., Commander Rachel Decker gave the order, "Begin shadow tracking." The patrol ship USCGC Hamilton and the destroyer USS Delbert D began mapping the route. Black locked onto the sub's route, and an MQ-9 Reaper drone began feeding live footage to the control room. The radar made soft sounds like a heartbeat. Every second mattered because if the sub slipped too deep, it would disappear completely from sonar. The sailors stood silent and focused on their screens. Well, somewhere beneath that water, a billion-dollar secret was creeping closer to the American coast. By 3:12 a.m., the Hamilton switched to passive sonar, and that let the sea's natural sounds fill their system. Within minutes, the AI sonar picked up something strange. Yes, a deep, low sound repeating every 18 seconds. It wasn't a whale or any marine creature. It was mechanical. It was the sub's propeller. The narco-sub was alive and was moving east at 7.4 knots, roughly 60 feet below the surface. The Reaper drone spotted a faint orange line trailing through the water, and now the Navy had its target locked. Then, something unexpected happened. The drone detected 2 smaller boats nearby, running without lights. They were following the sub, communicating every 11 minutes using encrypted signals. Inside those signals, analysts found traces linking back to Venezuela. It meant the sub was meeting a larger cargo ship waiting to receive the drugs. That ship was 90 nautical miles away, near the edge of U.S. waters. The entire operation was about to come together. Commander Decker didn't hesitate. Her voice came through the radio. Phase Delta. Prepare to intercept. At 3:52 a.m., the narco-sub surfaced for 6 short seconds to release exhaust, and that was all the Navy needed. The Reaper drone locked on, and then Decker gave the go. Move! The sea started to witness the motion. The Hamilton moved forward at 28 knots, slicing the dark waves. On its side, 4 Navy assault boats launched, carrying 60 armed sailors. Above, a Seahawk helicopter was there. The propellers whipped the air, and the deep thumping echoed across the Gulf. And now, the deadliest phase of the mission was about to begin. At 4:01 a.m., gunfire ripped through the night. The cartel's escort boats opened fire first. It was like bullets were sprayed into the darkness. Red tracer rounds flashed like lightning. The Hamilton's heavy .50 caliber guns answered back. It pounded the sea with deafening bursts. The Seahawk circled overhead with its GAU-21 machine gun roaring, ripping through one of the escort boats. Within seconds, the vessel exploded, and the flames lit up the ocean like sunrise. The second escort boat tried to ram one of the Navy's assault craft, but it was too slow. The sailors returned fire with M4 carbines and Mk-48 machine guns, and the boat's engine was hit. Now, only the submarine was left. The Hamilton's radar locked on. The Seahawks' spotlight followed the narrow trail of bubbles. During that time, the assault boats moved in fast, crashing through waves and spraying water over the sailors' faces. They reached the submarine. 12 sailors jumped onto the wet steel hull, and their grip was very tight. Now, the air smelled of fuel and chemicals. "Open it!" someone yelled. One sailor used a hydraulic cutter to open the hatch, and another tossed in a flash grenade. The blast lit up the inside, and seconds later, the team stormed in. Inside the sub, the air was thick with chemical fumes. Bags of crystal meth and liquid cocaine were stacked from floor to ceiling, and it was sealed in black industrial containers. The haul was worth over $400 million. 3 men inside the cabin were coughing and shouting in Spanish. They were now tackled and handcuffed. During that time, one tried to grab a pistol, but was quickly disarmed. In just minutes, the submarine was under full U.S. control. By 4:20 a.m., Commander Decker's voice came calmly over the radio saying, "Target neutralized, package secured." The sailors cheered quietly, but they were exhausted. The ocean burned orange from the wreckage of the cartel boats. The mission was a success, but no one had celebrated yet. They still had to tow the sub back to base. By sunrise, the Hamilton was headed north toward Pensacola. The half-submerged submarine was trailed behind. It was not a smuggler's boat, but it was a piece of engineering. Yes, a $2.8 million machine built for stealth. The entire hull was painted with radar-absorbing material, and every bolt was covered in carbon tape to mute sonar. Inside, there were no modern screens, but hidden under the floor, there was a massive lithium battery pack with Chinese markings. It could run for 600 miles underwater. It wasn't homemade junk. It was advanced, and it was dangerous. As the crew examined the wreck, they found something chilling, a navigation drive recording 2 past trips from Venezuela to Florida. That meant this sub had successfully completed missions before. Millions of dollars in narcotics had already slipped through undetected. The realization hit them very hard. What they had destroyed tonight wasn't the start. It was part of a much bigger operation. Be honest, did America handle this right, or was it overkill? Leave your thoughts in the comment.